in the petroleum sector. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has justified the decision to possibly draw down the Heritage Fund to support proposed stimulus package for businesses. The minister, in his coronavirus alleviation program presentation, proposed amending the petroleum laws to possibly withdraw from the Ghana Heritage Fund. This is to undertake urgent expenditures in relation to the coronavirus pandemic. He was briefing Parliament yesterday.
I will now update the House on measures government is proposing to close the fiscal gap. Since we are faced with extraordinary circumstances which require extraordinary measures, we would like to propose the following measures for the consideration and support of the House. A. Lower the cap on the Ghana Stabilization Fund from the current $300 million to $100 million in accordance with Section 23, Clause 3 of the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. This measure would enable the excess amount in the GSF account over the $100 million cap to be transferred into the contingency fund consistent with Section 23, Clause 4 of the PRMA. The amount transferred in the contingency fund will be used to fund the coronavirus alleviation program, CAP. Through this process, an estimated 1.25 billion Ghana cedis will be transferred into the contingency fund to fund the CAP. Mr. Speaker, we therefore wish to seek approval from this August House for the Finance Minister to use the funds which will be available in the contingency fund to fund the coronavirus alleviation program. B. Arrange of Bank of Ghana to defer interest payments on non-marketable instruments estimated at 1.2 billion Ghana cedis to 2022 and beyond. Adjust expenditures on goods and services and CapEx downwards by 1.248 billion. Secure the World Bank DPO of 1.716 million Ghana cedis. Secure the IMF credit facility of Ghana cedis 3.145 billion. Reduce the proportion of net carried and participating interest due GMPC from 30% to 15%. Amend the PRMA to allow a withdrawal from the Ghana Heritage Fund to undertake emergency expenditures in periods of national emergency. We would like Parliament to consider it in its own time.
And the chairman of the Finance Committee of Parliament, Dr. Mark Esibe-Yeboah, has meanwhile supported the use of the Heritage Fund in dire circumstances like the outbreak of the current global pandemic. He implored both sides of Parliament to support such a proposal as the COVID-19 threatens the entire global economy. It would be more appropriate to utilize the Heritage Fund now.
Pandemic is both a health and an economic crisis. This virus has placed enormous strain on the global economy. Mr. Speaker, this bit about social distancing, it means that there is restriction on the flow of goods and services. There is restriction on the movement of persons. It slows down economies. Mr. Speaker, the world is going to experience a global recession this year. No country is left out. Mr. Speaker, a recession will be 2 quarters of negative growth. And so you will hear the minister project that our economy could grow at 2.8% or even 1.6%. It could even be negative. So these are not times for anybody to be partisan. These are serious times, and so let's be guided. Mr. Speaker, what is even more worrying is that a recovery will be slow and long. It could take 2 years for our economy to recover. Mr. Speaker, to return to pre-coronavirus growth levels means we have to make hard choices. We have to make hard choices. Mr. Speaker, I recall the General Secretary of the NDC saying in 2012 that we have to chop the heritage funds, his words. Mr. Speaker, if there is any such time where we have to dip our hands into the heritage fund, it is now.
Meanwhile, the minority has resolved to vehemently resist any attempt to amend the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, which prohibits the use of the Heritage Fund, which is set aside for future generations. There's an estimated $591.1 million in the Ghana Heritage Fund.
I looked at the budget, 2020 budget, and that is why the other day, Mr. Speaker, I kept insisting that the contingency fund ought to be given enough money. Indeed, the Petroleum Revenue Management Act stipulates that the minister, through the approval of Parliament, can put a cap. Indeed, if you look at the 2020 budget, the cap was about 300 million. Today, the minister is proposing to withdraw more than 200 million, because once you cap it at 100, it means that the excess will go into other areas of expenditure. Mr. Speaker, in times of such difficult moments, what we expect leaders to do is to show commitment and lead by example and lead by demonstration. Mr. Speaker, in these difficult moments, in these hard moments, when ordinary Ghanaians are sacrificing, like the minister said, when hotels, businesses are laying off workers in order to ensure that they cover their costs, this is the time for His Excellency President Akufo-Addo to reduce the size of the bloated ministers that we have in this country. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo must demonstrate leadership. He must demonstrate commitment. He must send a signal to the people of Ghana that he is indeed in charge and he is prepared to sacrifice. Mr. Speaker, we cannot ask the ordinary Ghanaian to tighten their belts when we do not even have belt holes in our belts, Mr. Speaker. That is what is happening today. You cannot have a ministry that has 4 ministers in a particular ministry. Mr. Speaker, you cannot have a system with all those bloated presidential staffers feeding on the perks of government. Mr. Speaker, the minister says that he wants to review the Petroleum Revenue Management Act and eat into the Heritage Fund. Mr. Speaker, I, as a member of Parliament for the Yape-Kusogo constituency, support any decision to cut the stabilization fund. This side of the House would help the minister, would help government to go through this challenge. But Mr. Speaker, as for the Heritage Fund, any attempt to eat into the Heritage Fund, we shall resist it vehemently and we shall resist it.
Very interesting comments there from both sides of Parliament. We want to get an expert view, of course, an independent view from an energy expert, and we joined via Skype by Ishmael Jikomhene, who is also the Executive Secretary for Skype. Now, Ishmael, good evening. Welcome to Business Live. Now, we are in difficult times, obviously. Do you support a cap on the stabilization fund?
What has been intended in difficult moments like this was set up to help stabilize the ship. So that's the intended effect. The problem we've had in the country is that we started seeing in the stabilization fund even before it became necessary. When we started introducing in, I think, 2015 or 2014, that was the beginning of this situation that we find ourselves in. The framers of the Act always envisage a situation where we allow the fund to grow to the level where we can rely on the fund in difficult moments. The moment we capped it and restricted to 2 million at a time, we never succeeded in building the fund to the levels where it's. So yes, the stabilization was meant, and I think the minister wouldn't have assessing that fund.
Now, I believe you are aware that we set this law for unforeseen contingencies, and this is a perfect example of the situation. Now, do you think that capping the amount of the stabilization fund, which already has been accessed, will do us any good as a country at this time?
Well, like I said, the stabilization fund, the only problem is that we didn't allow it before we started harvesting. So whereas the money in that fund should be worth in excess of $1 billion, now we have a little about 300 million. Not going to cap that. So yes, the law also allows them to set the cap, be the cap, and under the circumstances, the stabilization fund is the basis for them to go into the stabilization.
All right, now let's turn our attention to government's proposal to utilize the Heritage Fund for the purposes of the coronavirus alleviation program. What's your take on this?
That's a difficult thing for me to support, especially having been of the group that actually establishment of the heritage. There's always a reason why we argue that we should spend everything that we earn from petroleum, knowing very well that inexhaustible resource that come a few years and will definitely be any petroleum resources the harnessed. So it will be very difficult for me to support that proposal. But under the circumstance, if the alternative would be for us to go and borrow to probably fund the car, then I would say whatever money is taken out of the heritage fund should be treated as a loan that has to be paid back as and when the economy. It should never be treated as a excess cash that's going to be spent, because tell you what, Emmanuel, we've already spent over $4 billion of oil money. Those of us living today, that's what we've done. So the little money that we said we're going to put aside for the future, imagine if we haven't saved that money and we had utilized it, where were we going to get 591? So yes, if the alternative would be for us to borrow to close this gap, then they should only take the money on condition that is the loan that has to be paid back to the heritage.
You don't support amendment of the law, especially when in the administration we had heard comments to the fact that we could utilize the Heritage Fund.
No, you see, I'm saying that without the amendment, they can't act, but the law is clear. Not until we've exhausted. So I'm saying that if we have to amend that act, then amendment should set that whatever money is being taken out of the Heritage Fund, the loan that has to be paid. Because it cannot be taken as any cash that can easily be. There was a reason why the fund. And I pray that it becomes last resort and that we don't rush amend the act and where things will lie before we attempt to amend the act. I heard the minister saying that the parliament could do that at the whole time, but I honestly think that is the last resort. But even if they have to do that, then it shouldn't be it should be a loan, because that fund has to.
All right, many thanks for your input there. Ishmael Jacob is an energy expert.